the Total Wealth Real Estate Radio Show, Steve Davis.
Thank you, thank you. I want to start off by, I'm going to introduce another vendor. He doesn't get to speak. I'm going to speak for him. But how many of you are aware of this? You only attract people as crazy as you are. How many of you have ever dated a crazy guy or girl? That's them. That wasn't your fault. How many of you dated two crazy guys or crazy girls? You might want to think about it. How many of you have dated three crazy guys or three crazy? That's you. You're crazy. And you attract crazy women or you attract crazy men. How many of you have a bad tenant? That's them. You had two bad tenants? Yeah. You had three bad tenants? That's you. You don't know how to attract, screen the right tenants. Now, I'm not talking about people with 500 units. I'm talking about single family people. You will only attract people as crazy as you. The guy I'm going to introduce has done 40 or 50 rehabs for me. Here's how I do it. Hey, Enrique, I just bought a house. Can you meet me to pick up the keys? Yes. Great. See you there. He comes to see me. He has his bid and his scope of work. We've already agreed on that. I grab the keys, I hand them to him, and say, call me when it's finished. That's a contractor. If you would stand up, Enrique. That's Enrique. After the seminar, he will be out by the bar drinking lots of beer with me. Please introduce yourself. Now, why did I bring up you only attract people as crazy as you? Because if you have a problem with Enrique, that's you. That's you. All right. Let me see if I can get these PowerPoints up without destroying the computer. I'm going to open the Lewis's PowerPoint and Better Worlds so that they're open. So give me just a second. There it is, Better World. Excellent. Okay, there's the Lewis. And where's mine? Oh, there it is. Yeah, this has been a conversation on the radio for literally about 3 weeks. I keep trying to get away from it, but I keep getting tons of emails about these points. It's why it's very hard to move from middle class to wealthy. And it's not because the wealthy are trying to hold you down. There's a concept or a point out there, the rich get richer, the poor get poor, as if the rich are doing something to hold the poor down. They don't give a shit about the poor. They're not trying to hold them down. They're too busy driving their Ferraris to the golf course. They're not standing there going, how can we hold people down? Yeah, you want to go golfing? No, I got to figure out how to hold people down. They're not doing that. That's not what's happening. Here's what's happening. And actions speak louder than words. You're going to hear this a couple of times during this. Actions speak louder than words. I cannot believe what you say because I can see what you do. What you do speaks way louder than what you say. By the way, disclaimer, I've done every one of these stupid things. Everything I'm making fun of the middle class on, I'm making fun of myself because I did it. First, thinking you can be cheap to save your way to success. Some of you cut coupons. You drive across town to, save $1 on tomatoes. You go to Aldi. No way you could go to H-E-B. Too expensive. You count the number of times you flush the toilet so you know what your water bill is going to be. Now, you think I'm exaggerating, but I know a guy who did that. Listen, you can't save what you don't make. I have never saved $1 million, but I've made $1 million. You have to make it to be able to save it. Did you know that the average scrimper and saver, the person who cuts coupons, who counts their toilet flushes, saves $200 a month? How many of you are going to retire on $200 a month? It's irrelevant. You don't have an expense problem. You got an income problem. Go figure out how to make more money. That's the secret. And it's not even a secret, by the way. This material is 6,000 years old. Babylonian. Literally, there are clay tablets that say what I'm saying. Make more money. You've got to make more money. If you're going to save $1 million, you have to make it. You need $3 million to retire in savings. Now, why do I say $3 million? Now, sadly, if your money's in an IRA or 401k, you need $4.3 million. Why? Because you have to pay taxes on the IRA and 401k when you retire. How many of you thought 401ks and IRAs save you taxes? Excellent. They don't save you taxes. They're the dumbest tool on the planet. The only way that an IRA or 401k saves you taxes is if you fail financially and retire with a low income. How many of you wake up in the morning, you're brushing your teeth, and you go, honey, man, we're kicking ass. We are going to retire with low income, baby. We're right on track. Nobody. The goal is to retire with high income. If you have high income and you pull money out of your IRA, what tax bracket are you in? A high tax bracket. So you need, this is Wall Street Journal I'm speaking of. You need $4.3 million to retire because after taxes you'll have $3 million. $3 million at the 4% rule, you're only allowed to take 4% of your savings when you retire. 4% of $3 million is 120 grand a year, 10 grand a month. Plus your Social Security, not a horrible lifestyle. That'd be $12,000 or $13,000 a month. You could at least have money to pay your bills and a little bit for fun and romance and travel. $100K for a year. Let's say that if you make $100,000 a year average, in your 20s you make 30, 40, but in your 40s and 50s you make 100, your 60s you make 150 a year, but the average is $100K a year. Do you realize that's only 4.5 million? And you have to save 4.3? So you're going to live 45 years on $200,000? Does it make sense when I say you can't save what you don't earn? You can't save your way to retirement. Let's look at it. 4.5 million is all you make. 23% of that is going to go to taxes. That's about 1 million. Your average living expenses, if they're just $5,000 a month, is 2.7 million. The max you could save if you didn't travel, didn't have fun, didn't buy nice cars, didn't buy nice watches, didn't dress nicely, the maximum you could save is 800 grand. You can't save what you don't earn. You've got to find out ways to make more money. Now, how many of you watch the news? Be honest. How many of you go to more than 2 or watch more than 2 sporting events a week? Put the news away. Stop abusing sports. Read a book on how to make more money. I love people that go see sports 3, 4, 5 times a week and bitch about money. Boy, those seats are sure expensive. Shut the fuck up. If you'd make more money, you wouldn't care how expensive the seats are. But because you're spending so much time at the ballpark, you're not making any money. Oh my God, I almost did. Glengarry Glen Ross, put that coffee down. A few of you know what I'm talking about. You've got to spend time focusing on making more money. Passive investing is an effective tool to make more money. All right, the second thing they do, they think a job is there to build wealth. I want you to think about the casinos for a minute. There's how many people in a casino? 20,000, right? Go to the Mirage, what is the Venetian? There's 20,000 people in there. One of them wins $7 million. What does the casino do? Every billboard says, this person won $7 million at our casino. Television. Mr. Smith, did you really win $7? What are you going to do with it? Advertising blows up. Do they mention the other 19,999 people that were there losing money? They don't, do they? I was a big fan of Jack Welch. I thought I was going to climb the corporate ladder at my job. I was going to grow and climb the corporate ladder and become a millionaire in corporate America because they promoted Jack Welch. They showed us on TV, $100 million a year. He had 150,000 employees that made jack shit. He was one out of 150,000 people. It's a lie to believe that your job is there to build wealth. The strategy is this. Okay, I'm going to wait for people to die, get fired, get downsized, quit, so I can move up. That's your business model? Good luck with that. A job is not there to build wealth. Your job is to build wealth outside the job. 3, lack of self-education, flat out arrogance. This is one of the points about actions speak loud. Oh, by the way, I forgot to apologize for being arrogant at the beginning of this workshop. I'm going to be arrogant during this whole workshop because all of these points are basically based on arrogance. So the only way that I feel comfortable assaulting them is by being arrogant. So please forgive me. It's really just for a point. I don't mean to be arrogant. It's just these things drive me nuts because I did them. And I know how arrogant I was when I was doing them. If you don't read, you're an arrogant son of a bitch. You think you know it all. You ready for this? 70% of Americans do not read nonfiction books. 70%. Now think about that. Are you in the financial position you want to be in? No. Are you reading any books on how to change that? No. Here's what they're saying, because I know everything. No book can help me. No seminar can help me. Pure arrogance in the middle class. Arrogance will destroy you. You better be reading, attending seminars, be humble. If you're 40 and you're not a millionaire, you don't know what you're doing. You had 20 years of working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and you're still not a millionaire? Wake up. You don't know what you're doing. Everything you're doing is wrong. Be humble and go, man, I don't know what I'm doing. When I was 27 and they came in and cut my pay, I don't know why I was humble, because I was an arrogant 27-year-old egotistical son of a gun, but for some reason it humbled me. When they cut my pay, I recognized that my map was wrong, that I did not know what I was doing. And so I bought every book and tape and boot camp and workshop that I could afford on how to build wealth. And it changed my life. So watch out for arrogance. The next one is ego. No, there we go, ego. This is another one about actions speak louder than words. People will go, well, I'm not egotistical. Do you realize if you've ever said the phrase, I'm not egotistical, you're the most egotistical person in the world? Because everyone has an ego. You're lying to yourself. We've all got egos. I've given the free workshop, I don't know, over 30 years, several hundred times a year. I see people in the room look away when I bring this point up, and I know what they're thinking. I don't have to listen to this part because I don't have an ego. That's the person in the room that I'm actually talking to. They've got the ego. See, read what Will Smith says. He's not here. I don't want to get slapped. Right? Too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. It is freaking true. And again, I've done it. I've bought stuff to impress my neighbors. I've bought stuff to impress my relatives that I didn't even like. Be cautious. It leads into number 5. So number 4 and number 5 really go together. Buying toys first and assets second. The middle class has it all backwards. And it's based off of this concept. See if this doesn't sound like it makes sense. You start working. You get a raise. You say to yourself, you know what? I'm not going to start saving and investing now because I don't have the cars I want and the house I want and the travel I want. So what I'm going to do is this. Here's my strategy. I'm going to get all the things I want, and as soon as I have everything I want, then I'll start saving and investing. There's a problem. When you buy all the things you want, guess what? There's nothing left over at the end of the month. Money to save and invest. I'll give you an example of a friend of mine. He got a $100,000 bonus and a 70,000-year raise. It's a very high income earner. But you got to understand, this guy was living paycheck to paycheck. He gets a $70,000 raise and a $100,000 bonus. He immediately goes out and buys a beach house in my neighborhood that's going to cost him over $70,000 a year, and took 25 of his family members to Disney World with the $100,000. What is that? It's number 6. Lifestyle creep. The need to constantly upgrade. So not only does the poor and middle class buy the toys first, thinking they're going to invest later, and they can't. They allow lifestyle creep to destroy their lives. What is lifestyle creep? I just described it. You know, I got a raise. I got to buy that beach house. And he went from living paycheck to paycheck to getting a $70,000 raise where he's living paycheck to paycheck. Lifestyle creep. Here's how it works. How many of you remember in your 20s and 30s you were making 20, 30, 40 grand a year living paycheck to paycheck? It makes sense. You're only making 20, 30, 40 grand a year. You live paycheck to paycheck. But 20, 30 years later, you're making 100 grand a year and you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Where'd that 60, 70 grand go? Lifestyle creep. See, when you were making 40 living paycheck to paycheck, you got a raise to 50. And you decided, man, my car's not as good as I thought. It's not safe. I need a safer, better car. So you buy a better car. That costs you $600 a month. You get a raise again a few years later. Suddenly your kids are not in the right school district. You got to switch. You got to buy a new house in a better school district. Let me clue all of you in. All school districts suck. But you had to buy that bigger house. Then you had, got to have that executive watch. You're an executive now. You make 100 grand a year, so the $20,000 Rolex is a requirement. My wife must dress a different way now. We need certain shoes. Do you see what I'm talking about? And we constantly improve our quality of lifestyle. and we never end up saving and investing. Those 6 reasons combined are destroying middle America. The wonderful thing is there are solutions. And it goes back, I bet you can all finish this one now. The solution is make more money. That's what you do. Listen, please, in 2020, I started Total Wealth Academy January 15th, 2020, right? Does everybody know what happened March 15th, 2020? COVID shut us down. They put us out of business. They said, no more seminars. What the fuck? 1 month later, a competitor sues me for $6 million. What the fuck? You know what I did? I didn't lose any sleep. I focused on making more money to pay the $1 million to win that lawsuit, to keep the doors open here. I focused on making more money. That's the key. None of you have an expense problem. You've got an income problem. And that's what you want to focus on. So thank you for letting me be arrogant for a while. I hope it was also fun. The first couple that I'm going to introduce are flipping phenomenal. And they are humble. They probably don't like me saying this stuff. But they went into an arena of real estate investing that people would say, there's no way you can make money at that. It's risky. It's bad people. It's this, it's that. They did in 40, and I did. These people did the same thing way better than I did. So please welcome Michelle and Rochelle. Thank you all so much for coming. Truly appreciate it.
Hello, everybody. Go ahead.
I've been a nurse for over 20 years. I do hospice and pediatric nursing. My passion is rental properties. I have one son, a daughter-in-law, and 2 grandkids.
Hi, I'm Michelle Lewis. My wife, we've been married 37 years, together 42 years. I'm a disabled vet, 10 years in the Navy, 20 years at the Postal Service, retired, started rental property. We started in 1999 with one property that was bought from my sister-in-law for $17,000, $18,000. Everybody told us it wouldn't work. So we kept at it. We ended up with 32 properties in the same city, all in Port Arthur, Texas. Anybody know Port Arthur, Texas? Okay, we've been renting properties there for the last 25 years. Done good.
So we want to start off by telling you
Brief.
what we did before the real estate. We've already said that I was a nurse, and he was in the military.
I'll go to
To the next one.
real estate investments.
Go ahead.
Well-
Why we got into real estate investment.
We got into it, we started with Robert Allen. I don't know if some of you guys know Robert Allen. He's doing the same thing as Steve doing. We took about 3 years of courses with him, went out, started buying houses. The deal is, a lot of people don't have money to buy houses. Where do you get the money from? Banks, loans. We didn't have to go through that. We had our own money. So we purchased one at a time. We had 3 realtors working with us. Whenever they got a house or apartment or whatever, they called us. We live in Dallas. We come down to Port Arthur, look at it, purchase it. Most people in Port Arthur didn't want loan money. They wanted cash money. So you was able to make a deal with cash money quicker than with a loan because a lot of them was elderly, getting ready to pass, sickly, didn't want to leave the property to their kids because a lot of property left to kids are trash, don't pay the taxes, insurance. So that's where we came in at. We was buying those houses, 10, 5, 20, no more than $38,000 we spent on any property. Okay? Each property generates anywhere from 50. So that's a lot. Once you start generating the income, the taxes, the insurance won't be no problem because you have the revenue coming in. That way you go from one house to two houses to three. It's easy, but you got to work. And by us staying in Dallas, we coming down every weekend, sometime Monday, stay a whole week. So we bought us a house in Port Arthur to stay in instead of renting a hotel, staying with families and all that, because you know how that could be. So that was our 33rd property. We still have that property now. We still go back and forward. We have sold 20 properties over the last 5 years. We still have 12 properties, rental properties, that we have now. Next goal is to move to passive investment, which renting houses, it's good. You have to have time, patience. It's the main thing because you're dealing with individuals. Like he said earlier, you don't know how people can be. It can be good, it can be bad. You have a good tenant or a crappy tenant. But that's part of going through real estate. You're gonna run across some of that, and everybody ain't the same on living conditions. You rent a house, you can't tell a person how to keep that house inside. But outside, you can. A lot of people don't A1 clean up. Younger people don't do cleaning. They just live. You see what I'm saying?
What it has meant to our family, it's being able to travel every year together with the kids. Also, the grandkids. Also, it gave us a boost of extra income. And also security, knowing that all of our bills will be paid, and doing things together as a family. Also, the grandkids, it meant for us to be able to help with the college tuition and also tutoring my grandkids. It's just a peace of mind knowing everything will be all right.
Okay.
The next one.
Next one is the city of Port Arthur. The population in Port Arthur is about 55,000. You have more people from other cities and state comes into Port Arthur because of the refineries. The refineries don't have places for people to stay, for their workers, because they bus them in from all over Texas. So that's where the rental properties come in. They don't want to stay in apartments, they want homes. So that's where we came in at. We let them know we had such house available, They sent them to the realtor, which was our manager. She did all the paperwork. We made sure that they had the utilities in their name. See, because they slick now. They'll put them in other folks' name, and nothing you can do about it once they get on, because the energy company ain't going to talk to you. So we had to make sure driver license and everything matched.
Background check.
Then,
No, I was just saying that we have to do a background check on
Okay.
each person. Say the next one. Where is Port Arthur?
it's southeast of here. It's about 100 miles.
It's a seaport town.
A lot of people come there to fish. That's what I like to do when I'm there, is fish. Because in Dallas, it's fresh water. There's no good saltwater fishing up there. So I come down this way 2 or 3 weeks, take off, and just fish. Now,
Next one.
okay. That's the downtown area. Port Arthur is being remodeled. The downtown area, they had started remodeling it 10 years ago. The contractors come in and take the money, say they didn't want to do this and do that, and don't see them no more. So the city falls behind on money and try to get more money, but no people want to move in to no city. It's just a blank city. So with the refinery help, it's building back up. Due to the storms and flooding over the last 6, 7 years, that did a lot to it, but it's coming back. More real estate is being presented. People are back selling, and people are moving in to the city. A lot of them left after the storms. You didn't want to come back, but now they see the city is beautified. They want to come back, and it ain't as cheap as it used to be. See, everything's gone up, rent goes up, insurance goes up, and you have to go up with it. They don't think you do. Tenants don't. They think everything is a low ball, low price, gimme, just do it. Don't work that way.
Go to the next one.
This particular property here is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, living room, laundry room. It sits on about 7,000 square feet. We purchased this property for $28,000 back in 2010. The family that owned this property didn't want to leave it to the kids. So they told us, give us this amount, you can have the property. The property was fully furnished, clean. They had to went in and renovated and did everything. All we had to do was come up with the money. And that's what we did. We still have that property now. That property generates about $12,000 a year. After insurance and taxes, you're looking at about $8,000 clear for that particular property. And we've been renting that property ever since we bought it. And it's still rented today. This here property we bought back in 2013
13th Street.
I think it was 2005. We bought it from a
Bought
realtor.
it in 2006.
Bought it from a realtor. She had been trying to sell this house, sell it for months. Nobody would want to come up with the money. Or they had excuses, or this or that. So we looked at this property. One time, 1 hour, we made an offer, $15,000. It's a 3-bedroom, living room, dining room, central air and heat, 1 bath with a den and a laundry room. Sits on about a 9,000 square feet lot. We've been renting it out ever since. The rent goes up $100 every year. The approximate rent on that property right now is what, about $1,100 a month?
It rents for $1,000 a month.
$1,000 a month. And so far, the tenants has been pretty good. They like it. We like them. We keep them happy. Okay, this property here,
Is that Gulfway?
it's on a busy street, Main Boulevard, Gulfway Boulevard. Nobody wanted to mess with it because it's across the street from a Catholic church. Nobody. It's a commercial property. People next door has a telephone shop. People on this side has a vending machine, trucks, food truck, and whatnot. This house, they was using it as an insurance office. Farmers Insurance had it. So they say, well, we want to sell it. We bought that property for $20,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, living room, dining room, kitchen, with a large den. It sits on about 8,000 square feet of land, and it's just a good house. We didn't have to do no work to it. All we had to do was come up with the money, move somebody in it. And that leasing agent always had a list of people that needed somewhere to stay. So next person fell in line, and we rent that to the day. Okay. This house here we bought about, that was the last, I think this was one of the
2012.
last ones we bought, 2012. It was just before or just after the hurricane. I'm trying to remember which hurricane it was. This guy was a carpenter for the refinery. And he was building a new house on the other side of town. But he couldn't build it unless he had money to pay for the land. And he only had money to build a house. He thought the land came with the house. But it don't. Totally separate. So we came up with right about $32,000. This house is a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, living room, dining room, with a front porch, which you can see with the screen at, with a 2-car garage, with 2 storage spaces behind it. And it sits on a 10,000 square feet lot with a gazebo on the lot and fenced, wood fenced around, all the way around. And we rent it out since we had it. Didn't have to do no work to it. Just move them in. And we've been lucky over the years, getting good properties and good value. The expense hadn't been too good. Sometimes the tenants, you know how they can leave a house. Their deposit don't cover everything. They want it back after they didn't trash your place. So we got smart, made them pay double on the deposit. So you move out, don't tell nobody, we got your deposit. And a lot of them don't want to leave that $1,000, $2,000 deposit. They don't want to leave that. So they're going to make sure they keep your house like it's supposed to be. Okay. Where do we go from here?
We go on to passive investment.
We saw Steve on TV in Dallas. He was in Dallas doing a news show. So we had some friends to tell us years ago, they in one of the companies, other companies down here, and they was telling us about how easy it was to do this and do that. So I say, well, what it takes to get into it? Well, just go to a meeting. So we just kept watching. He did a radio show in Dallas. So I said, we're gonna drive down, see what's going on. So we did a Zoom meeting, and his workers, they talked us through it and went over everything, explained it. And just come to a meeting, you'll see, you'll like it. And that's sure enough. We drove down, and about 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, and
Here we are.
listened to him, and we joined in, and here we are today. And we on our way up. That's the only way I can say it. That's the only way I see it. It's up. And you can do it too. It takes time, effort, and hard work. You can do it. That's it. That's the last.
He said questions.
Any questions? Oh, Steve gonna do that part.
Question.
Okay. We didn't have none the flood that came through 5-6 years ago. We didn't have none.
We do have flood insurance.
We carried the insurance, so yeah. We have had hurricanes and roofs tore off, doors, siding, but the insurance, by having the insurance did very
Covered.
well
Yeah.
each time that something happened.
Because we had thought about investing in Port Arthur, but we always like, do we want to deal with flooding? Even if it's covered by insurance, you have to deal with the tenant.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be in a situation. So.
Well, they understand when something like that happen, they understand because they need a place to stay. See,
And
and
then-
the only way they can stay is you get that place together. If you don't have no flood insurance, you can't get it together because most people don't save money to repair a house, especially a rent house.
We advise the tenants to get rental
Insurance.
insurance to cover their property.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Yes. Yes, ma'am. They do everything. 10% of the rent for that particular house. So we have them running all day, every day, all over the town, checking this, looking at this, walking in the house, making sure this is working, that's working. Any kind of damages that they're not reporting to us or to them, that's the time we see it. We get on them, and we get it taken care of. Well, it depends on that particular house, what goes on, you know. Normally, your biggest repairs is air conditions.
The AC unit.
You know, a lot of kids, these youngsters, they're not used to AC units, so they turn them down to 65. When they get cold, they turn it up to 90, and they expect it to kick on and off, and you run back and forward. So what we do, we make them put it on a deposit. So when the air conditioner man go there, if they hadn't changed the filter, he's gonna charge them for the filter, and he's gonna charge them for that fee, for that coming out fee. We're not gonna pay that, because you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. No, property manager come first. 10% come first. You get hers, get out the way. Then we have whatever's left. We need to do this, do that. We do it. Then,
Because
What's-
the property manager collects the rent, so she gets hers,
Yeah.
she gets hers off
Off
the
the
top.
yes, ma'am. It's
Yes.
a lot
By
of
us
ti-
living in Dallas and the houses are in Port Arthur, so it helps us out a lot.
Then you don't want to deal with the tenant a lot on your own. Let somebody else deal with them. If they got an attitude, That's what she there
That's
for.
what we're
Let
paying
her,
her for.
you know, because you don't want to deal with that, because me, I'm the buyer. I'm like, hey,
The
get your
line
stuff.
and get
At
out.
the end of the month, we're going to send you a letter. You find somewhere else to go. Yes, ma'am. You know, they can go up or down. It depends on you, you know. Some want 15%, which I stay at the 10%. So if at the end of the year, Christmas time, get them a little bonus or something like that, you know. But no Christmas presents. Can't start that.
Okay. Let's ask
Okay. Huh? Yes, and we're in the process of selling those.
So
We're gonna-
we're looking for investors to maybe invest in some of our properties.
Yes, we're gonna sell all our properties and just go strictly.
Passive investing.
Mouth got dry, Pat. Yeah.
Port Arthur, the houses are much cheaper.
Well, she was
And
born
I'm
and
from
raised in Port Arthur. And
In Dallas, you can't get houses for 15, 20,000, but in Port Arthur, you can.
nah,
No,
Nah.
not anymore.
nah.
Yeah, yeah.
The investors coming through there, buying everything up, lots. They buying them up, $2,000-3,000 lots, and then turn around, put $100,000 house on it, rent it out. You know, you can buy a lot. It's I mean, it's thousands of them. Parks, you want a park? They selling parks. Yeah.
In
Go
Port
online.
Arthur.
Port Arthur, they have 6 parks up for sale right now. So, you know, but it's a good little city to invest in. That's it.
No,
Oh, they want that one. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
Great job. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. Okay. Our next speakers are somebody that I'm really proud to have as sponsors here at Total Wealth Academy. And it's from the original interview, not just from, the due diligence and the vetting that I did after the first interview. It was the first interview that I could tell that they were focused on how they were here to help and serve as opposed to what was in it for them. They get the concept that if you help and serve enough other people, you'll get what you want. You help enough other people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And they're in the process of helping one of our newer sponsors analyze a deal, and they're saving his butt. I can tell you that right now. So they are not only great sponsors with a good history, they're actually helping other sponsors improve their business model. So please welcome Terry Clifton and Michael Knight.
Hi, guys.
And
Hello.
when you are done,
Yes.
my son Trevor is going to come up and talk about the donation. So as soon as you're done, he'll be coming up. Then everybody will head out for cocktails and snacks and networking.
I like
Excellent.
that part.
Yes.
Guys, and Steve's right. We are helping because we love to give back. So we try to make sure that we look at deals and we analyze deals and we help others because we do have a lot of years of property experience. And you're getting ready to see that because we have this whole little slideshow. Little nervous, but I do teach to give back, so I'll calm down here in just about 5 minutes, okay?
Well, thank you guys for having us very much. We love being here. We just love being part of the Total Wealth Academy group. Just want to share a little bit with you about where we came from, our journey into real estate and how we got here, and talk about one of the deals that we did and see what we can learn from that experience. So, Terry?
Yeah. first,
See if we can get this working here.
yeah, there we go. We're working. So first, I want to start out by telling you that I came from a beanbag and a television set. So nobody can tell me how it feels to be poor, okay? And I worked my tail off and absolutely finagled my way into property management as a leasing agent. I started out as a leasing agent, and what I found was that I was learning and I was figuring out how to make a lot of people a lot of money. And I did a great job, and I kept getting promoted, and I kept making more people more money, and I was so excited because I was poor, right? And so I kept making more people more money, and then at some point I realized that I was making everybody else money except for me, okay? And so I have to go to my little script here. I need to let you know that I have, over my career, have managed over 35,000 units, okay? And I am a licensed broker. Yeah, guess what? I went to school at night to learn what I needed to know during the day, okay? And how I pulled that off, I have no idea, but I did. And I started learning real estate. But what was happening was I was actually teaching ownerships, just like yourselves, how to make so much money, and I didn't realize that I wasn't doing it for myself, okay? So let's see what's on my next slide. Yeah,
Well,
then
just tell
Michael.
a little bit about me,
Yeah.
my background. I come from a background of managing and building companies that provide services to the commercial real estate industry. I've done that for, let's just say, a number of decades. I even spent quite a bit of time being an independent consultant to other service companies all over the world. It was great, got to see a lot of the world, but when the industry that I was with gave me the Lifetime Achievement Award, that's when I said, you know what, maybe I've done all I need to be doing in this business. Maybe it's time to go on and do something different. So, and in case any of you are wondering, Michael Knight, if you remember, yes, that I am the real Michael Knight. If you remember the Knight Rider and the kit, that is me, and that is the kit car.
No.
I get that a lot, not as much as I used to, but.
All right, so guys, fast forward. We both had good jobs. We were making decent money. But what we realized was that we were learning more than what the owners that we were teaching. We were actually teaching them how to make a lot of money, and we were not making money. So we decided that I was going to learn whatever was left from the clients that I was serving. I was going to learn whatever was left. I was going to get it for me. And we decided 7 years ago to start our own company. And go ahead.
Yeah, well, I just got tired of flying all over the world and giving my best ideas to other people. I said, well, why don't I do this for myself? And I started looking at Terry. I got to know Terry better and better. And I said, Terry, you know so much about the apartment business. Why don't you have your own company? So I started thinking about Terry as my one and only client. And that's how we kind of.
Oh, no, guys. He said, Terry, start a company. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
She reminds me about that anytime things get a little bit challenging.
And they do. Guys, if you know, but nothing is fun. It's going to have its ups and downs, and there's going to be struggles, and you're not really going to create wealth if you're not going through troubles or triumph. You've got to go through all of it, okay? And so during those times, I look at Michael and I'm like, Michael, you said this was going to be fun. Terry, start a business. It's going to be fun. And so we
did think that we could be good at this and add some value to what we were doing. So admittedly, we had a bit of a head start in the business based on where we were coming from. But what we really didn't have was mentors and the support of like-minded people like yourselves.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that really inspired us.
Yeah.
So we love giving back. We just want to share with you a little bit about what our journey has been and some of the stuff that we've been doing. So today, our Better World companies, we operate multifamily properties up and down the Texas Gulf Coast. We operate thousands of units. We have ownership in about a quarter of those units. We operate a corporate office on the north side of town in the North Houston district. We've got 5 regional managers, 5 accountants. We've got a construction manager, a controller. even keep, if any of you happen to be at the Houston Apartment Association's Hall of Fame induction luncheon, it was held earlier today, and I do see a couple of people I recognize out there that were there. The inductee this year was a gentleman named Vic Bosick, and the gentleman who presented the Lifetime Achievement Award to him was Larry Hill. Larry Hill is a legendary figure in the Houston apartment industry. Most people remember him for owning the Houston House Apartments downtown. Some years ago, we bought Larry Hill's company from him, so we actually keep an office for him down the hall from us, and he is one of the great mentors for us. So a little bit of history there.
Yeah. Well, look at this. This is silly. This is silly. What I like to do is because 35 years later, I love giving back. And so I feel like as many mentors through my career that have given me the education and the support that I've had, I teach the the National Apartment Association, as well as the Leasing 101. And if you know or have taken my class, what you're going to find out is sometimes I like to dress up, and I like to be the original apartment manager. Because back in the day, there were no multifamily. It was a duplex, and it was a manager living in the secondary apartment, and she rented out the other apartment. So for my class, I like to teach them that, yeah, baby, we've come a long way, and we have. And so I will be silly and I will dress up, but I like to engage with my students and I like to get them excited because remember when I started this conversation, I started out as a leasing agent. I will always be a leasing agent. No matter what position I hold, even as owner, you have to be a leasing agent or you're not going to be successful in multifamily.
Well, one of the things that we also do is we get very politically involved on behalf of the industry. Terry and I both serve on the Houston Apartment Association's steering committee for the Political Action Committee. So we are all constantly involved with our elected officials. As I always like to tease our elected officials, what we're really here for with them is to make sure that you don't mess with us. Leave us alone, and we're going to be just fine. We'll be responsible landlords. If you will be responsible elected officials. So.
But we do have very serious conversations with them based on laws that are changing and things that we need to have happen as landlords. So we do get into very serious conversation, but it helps to have the relationship with these officials.
So last year, the Houston Chronicle named us the #1 top workplace in Houston. That was a great honor for us.
Yes, I wear my badge proudly.
Probably one of the reasons that we just have we like to have a lot of fun doing this. We do participate a lot with the Apartment Association. These are some of the fun events that we do as a group. So what we're really here to talk about is the deals that we've done, and one in particular. And this is the one that I like to call our first whale. So once we really got rolling, we decided it was time to bite off a pretty big chunk. We leveraged virtually all of the available cash that we had, all of the relationships that we had, everybody that we knew, said, you know what, let's go in and we're going to put together a 3-property deal with 544 units. Now, we weren't 100% sure how this was going to go, but we were fully committed and we knew that somehow or another this was going to work. We had great faith in this. What we didn't know is that we were in for quite a ride with this.
Okay. All right, I have to read some of the notes, guys. We called it the Victoria Portfolio. It's fairly standard apartments, workforce housing. The purchase price was $29.5. Guys, in this room, can you imagine $29 million or $54,000 per unit? The going-in cap rate was 6.2. This is a volume. Basically, Victoria was an area that 544 units. We controlled 10% of the market, which was really cool because we could actually adjust and change the market. It's a smaller area.
Yeah. So, there was, as I said, 3 properties involved. The first of those we called Victoria Station. This was the Newest, it was really in the best shape of all of them. It's a 1982 vintage. It was 224 units. If you want details, the nerdy ones here, you really want to get into this, take your picture of the screen. You can find out all the details about this property. But the second property.
The second property was Tanglewood. That was our baby, okay? It was the smallest, and what it did was it attracted the college crowd, so we focused primarily on that profile.
Yep. And then more details about that one if you really want them. The third property was the Silvermine property. Now, this was the property that needed the most work, but it also presented the most opportunity. It was arguably on the good side of town, but it was in very rough shape when we got there. So it was 216 units, 1982 vintage. Again, plenty of information about that. I will say that you may notice some of this information comes out of CoStar. Those of you familiar with that. This is one of the data services that we subscribe to. Highly recommend getting all the data that you can when you're looking at these various deals. That's one of the tools we find very helpful.
Okay. After countless calculations, we analyzed all of them. We came up with a plan that made sense. We would pay an 8% preferred return, basically accumulate, even if we couldn't pay during the first year. After that, additional returns were going to be a 70-30 split. Overall return goal was 23% with a 2.4 equity multiplier.
Sounds pretty promising. So had to have a business plan to do that.
Yeah. Our plan evolved around taking average rents of the lower income properties of $750 per month, and then you had new construction, which was $1,300 per month. Our plan was to go right in between and raise the rents $950 and do a value add. And so with that, created a problem.
Well, that was the lender. Lenders looking at this deal going, okay, great, as they often do, show me the comps. Show me the proof that what you're proposing works. Okay, well, we're in a tertiary market here. We are the pioneers doing something that nobody has done in this market before. That was a little bit of a challenge to explain this to the lender, but once we got through that process, then they finally go, oh, okay, I get it, and came up with 70% of the money for us. So that was useful.
Yeah. The rest came from friends, family, couples, and a few heavyweight investors. We plan to spend $4.6 million improvements and do the value add play. Basically, fix them up, bump them up, and lease them up. We figured on selling and refinancing in 36 months, but leaving a little bit of fruit. And guys, if you're doing multifamily, you need to know this, okay? You do not do 100% of anything, because what's your exit strategy? When you're preparing to purchase multifamily, you've got to make sure that your plan includes your exit strategy, which is leave a little fruit on the tree. Because if I'm a buyer, what am I going to get? Why am I going to buy it if I don't have something to give my investors? So make sure that when you're planning this, you leave a little fruit on the tree, okay?
Now, I'm a big planner kind of person. I love having every detail figured out before we get started on something. Felt pretty confident about this deal, but along came our first surprise.
Surprise! Guess what?
We were under contract. It's a few weeks before closing,
Yes.
and Hurricane Harvey comes roaring ashore at Rockport, Texas. Now, we all remember in Houston, this was a huge flooding event. Down in Victoria, where this hurricane passed within just a few miles of the properties that we were buying, it was primarily a wind event. So it did a lot of damage in the Victoria area. Fully a third of the properties in the Victoria area were affected by this. I wasn't particularly concerned about it, though, because I'd had a little experience with doing this. I actually had chased hurricanes for a while, done disaster recovery work before, so we weren't really put off by this. Not our first disaster. So fortunately, we had in our purchase sale agreement all the contingencies for what happens if a catastrophe happens while you're under contract. That was so useful.
Make sure that you have that.
Yeah, so we promptly contacted our favorite public adjuster. We started working with the seller on this thing, and we just started digging in to get through this process. What happened was the winds tore up the roofs on the Victoria Station property. They destroyed the carports at Tanglewood, and then the Silvermine property, which remember was the roughest one to start with. This is where the most damage happened. It messed up the roofs, and it did a severe number on the stucco siding around these buildings. If you look up here in the upper left-hand corner, that picture of the stucco, that was taken before the hurricane.
Yeah, it was
So-
already failing.
So what happened is this hurricane, it exposed all kinds of new issues. The city got involved, made our life especially festive with that. But in the end, we ended up with a boatload of insurance money that allowed us to put everything back together. And since we had already planned on completely reskinning the Silvermine property and changing out a lot of the roofs, this was like an extra capital infusion for us, and it helped us take care of that issue with insurance money, which meant we had to borrow less money to get through the deal in the first place. So in a lot of ways, in the business that we're in, if we have good insurance, then it becomes, like I said, an additional capital infusion when we have a catastrophe. And we've seen through a number of properties where insurance money has allowed us to fix up properties more than what we had planned for in the first place.
We've had more properties or for clients that a catastrophe has happened, and they've already been past their improvement plan, and a catastrophe happens, and then it actually allows them to come in and rebuild all the units, and then we come in and we're able to raise the rents $75 to $100 per unit. And so they have exited wonderfully through catastrophe. So never let catastrophe be a factor if you're figuring out to invest in real estate.
Now, this did create a second challenge for us.
Oh my goodness. Guess what happens? We had all of our equity lined up. We were ready to go. And go ahead, Michael.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of this equity was coming from overseas. They didn't quite understand the same way that we do about hurricanes, and obviously they panicked. They bailed at the last minute, so they kind of leave us holding the bag a little bit. And one of the realities of this business is if you're the sponsor of a deal, you're the first money in, and you accept the most risk on these deals. So if a deal doesn't close, you have every opportunity to lose your
life
initial
savings, guys, is gone. Okay, so
Yeah.
you better be prepared if you're stepping up as a sponsor. You better be prepared and know and have done the underwriting and gotten Total Wealth Academy's approval on your underwriting, because you want to make sure as many people as possible have looked at your underwriting. Because guess what? You're going to benefit from it if everything goes right, but you are going to pay if everything goes wrong.
Well, we were very fortunate through our networking to be able to line up another heavyweight investor to get behind our deal. So we were able to get the thing closed. Yay, thank goodness. That was a great time there. So let's look at what the results were of the rehab. So we did a lot of work on these things. Remember, so we're going to spend $4.7 million fixing these things up. Here's how they turned out.
You're going to love this part, guys. You're going to love this. We spent, I have to hurry, okay. We spent $577,000 on the exterior of Victoria Station. Remember, that was the one in the best condition, most of which were new roofs because the wind blew through and took them off. We spent an average of $4,200 per unit on 179. Remember, I'm leaving some fruit on the tree, okay? We added a dog park, spruced up the existing amenities. This allowed a rent increase of 16%.
Yep.
Then we did Tanglewood, about $570,000 worth of improvements. Half went to unit upgrades. We redid the office, the laundry, and the pool area, and the rest went to carport and driveway repairs and some roof work and then painting, which got us a 13% rent increase.
And I really like the cool little sign we put on the corner of the building. That was neat.
Yeah, if you're ever in Victoria, we're the only lighted up sign on the end of a building. It's really cool. Well, we don't own it anymore. We sold it. But anyway, We spent on Silvermine, this is the biggest one, guys, remember, we spent about $2.1 million. The big expense was roof and siding. Remember, it was falling off before? But also, if anyone is a multifamily, you understand that women make the decisions when we're renting apartments, and it's all about the kitchens and the bathrooms, right? And so we spent about $780,000 on these. They turned out fabulous, which you can see, and it allowed us to get an 18% rent increase.
Thing I was most proud of in this property was the clubhouse. We completely redid this. We added a gym. We gave it a real wow factor. I think we spent about $75,000 doing this. Hard to believe that the picture on the left and the picture on the right is actually the same building.
Is that
from the
cool or
same
what,
deal.
guys?
So that was cool. We also just absolutely went over the top with a dog park. Now,
Yeah.
the contract that we were working with here,
Go.
he had some great ideas. He had a friend that did the laser cutting of metal work. So we just got really crazy with this dog park. I think we spent about $30,000
Yes.
on this dog park. But to put this in perspective, if you look towards the back on the right-hand picture here, there's a little enclosure area over there. That's our dog wash. And I don't know if you
Station.
guys realize this, but you can actually buy a stainless steel professional commercial dog wash station. If you want to be in a Class AA type property, they
Yeah.
might have one of these. Those stations cost $30,000. So
Have
we put a
30,000.
hose and a little deck over the drain. That was our dog wash. It worked out perfect. So.
Okay. All right, here's what you really want to know. The various reasons we did exit early. And we are so glad that we exited early because, guys, after that came COVID. We didn't know that was coming. We did not know that was coming. But we did. Yeah, I had a premonition. Who knows? But anyway, we sold for $64,700 a door. The yield was $4.7 million, guys, in profits, and we were able to distribute those between our investors and our partners. Final returns were 18% with an equity multiplier of 1.8. You may have noticed on the broker's presentation or promotion that there's only 2 properties, and that was because our baby, we were approached by a buyer, and they wanted to buy our baby quicker than we sold the portfolio.
So that worked out really nice for us. We really enjoyed that deal at the end of the day. We did have to go through a lot of heartache and some special challenges on that, but we're so glad we did because it really gave us a springboard into doing additional deals and just growing our business even further. So it really worked out well for us. Today, we are leveraging the infrastructure, the war chest that we built, the team that we've built to really take full advantage of today's marketplace. Now, the graphic I put up here is like, trap the falling knife. I don't know how many of you have heard this expression, but people in the investment industry will often say to you, the last thing you want to do is to try to catch a falling knife. And I heard that twice in one day this week from investment people. And what they're talking about there, of course, is, don't put your money into anything until you know where the bottom is so that you can start going on the way back up. Well, that may be true for some investment vehicles where what I've found is a lot of times they just have no clue of where the bottom is or how fast it's falling or where it's going to go. But in real estate, we have a very good fix on where the bottom is. We know what these properties are worth. We underwrite them to an extensive amount of detail, and we're able to understand kind of where we need to be. Now, are all the sellers there? No, not yet, but we know where those offers need to be. So I like to say that we're working on trapping that falling knife. We have that good fix on the market. I think we're in about 4 different deals right now.
Which if you're in this room and you're part of our last deal, it's going very well. We've had it for about 2 months, the last one.
So
So yeah,
we've got
there you
some-
go. Thank you. We're doing well.
Good.
We'll give you an update if you'd like.
Yep, we've got multiple LOIs out right now. We're working on some new insurance vehicles out there. So we're excited about the opportunities that the multifamily industry presents to us right now. We think it's a good time to be here.
Okay. we'd like to thank Total Wealth Academy because we've met new friends, new investors, and we're really thankful and excited to be part of this new group. We've met and have lots of investors into our new latest deals, and we're hoping to share ones in the future. But we also are looking forward to, no offense, winning the next chili cook-off at the Houston Apartment Association barbecue. I'm sorry, this was our chili
This
cook-off.
was just last month.
Just
so.
last month.
Yeah.
We love people. We love making the world better. And we always want to make sure that we're helping not only our investors, but we, as Steve told you, we love helping sponsors. And we are just a phone call away. So if you are a sponsor and you need any of my 35 years experience, Michael's many years of experience, we're here to help.
Well, thank you very much. That's kind of our deal right there. I know everybody's anxious to get out to the next thing, but any questions that you have, be
questions?
happy to try to take a couple of them real quick. So.
Do you have some properties in Houston you're going to buy in next year, in the coming year?
Absolutely. We have three
Probably,
LOIs. Well,
probably.
we have three LOIs in right now, but if you're a sponsor here, you know those don't always work out.
Well,
Go ahead.
What I would say is that we're very opportunistic when it comes to what kind of properties that we're looking at. I like to say that every deal can be a good deal if the numbers are right.
Correct.
So if it's in Texas, it's an area that we're familiar with, we're comfortable in, then we'll certainly take a look at it. So, other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Well, we've spent 8 months.
8 months. 8 months.
Working with consultants and various brokers, trying to put together what we finally came up with was an insurance pool that allows us to put our clients and our properties into a vehicle that it's not a home run, but it saves us a little bit on the insurance, which everybody knows is a big challenge right now. So yeah, we're working hard on that insurance.
Yes.
Other questions? Okay. Well,
Who's ready to invest? Just kidding.
All right. Well, let's go make some money in multifamily and houses and real estate. And thank you guys very much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
One last thing, everybody. Thank you all very, very much for that awesome presentation. One last thing before we get sent back out there. If you want to donate to the Houston Food Bank and have not already done so, we are already at our goal tonight. Please scan the QR code on the packet we sent to you at the front. It is very, very easy. Just scan this QR code and it takes you right to the portal that donates straight to the Houston Food Bank. Every dollar that gets donated to them gets 3 meals to a family in need. So if you want to donate, don't hesitate. Use this QR code. That is the last thing, everybody. Thank you all very much for coming.